My heart was beating, my limbs weren't working, I tried to run and I fell.
Most people never think that it could happen to or around them.
I really want to live. I have a 4-year-old daughter. The only thing that was on my mind at that time literally was save yourself.
What a morning this has been. Horror strikes in Antioch Waffle House. In the blink of an eye, 4 are dead, 4 others injured, and a gunman is on the run.
I would like to go right now to Don Aaron, if I could. The spokesperson for the Metro Police Department just showed up. Hey, Don, we're live on the air right now. Hold this mic. Do you mind telling us what's going on?
At 3:25 this morning, the police department received a call of an active shooter at the Waffle House.
Police say that a man inside Waffle House ran into the bathroom, and when he saw the shooter was distracted, he took the risk in stopping him. News 4's Alana Otler is in North Nashville with that man right now. She is talking to him. We're going to tune in and take a listen to this.
Did you have any conversations with them after the fact, after the shooter had fled?
One guy, I don't know his name, he was looking at a body, and I told him, I said, don't look at it, it's going to haunt you. And he was like, you're right, and he walked away from it.
In that wrestling with the guy, did he ever say anything?
He was cursing me because, I was taking his gun from him. And then after I got the gun, he was just like, he acted like I was in the wrong. And I was like, I'm just trying to live.
We're actually in a neighborhood right next to his apartment complex. Metro police officers have just been going door to door, knocking on every door in this neighborhood, telling the residents here to be alert, to be vigilant, and look out because, as you just said, this man is considered armed right now. The search is continuing throughout this neighborhood. We've seen officers with the FBI, with the ATF, with Highway Patrol, and of course Metro Police searching wooded areas all around where about a 2-mile radius from this Waffle House right now.
We have breaking news that manhunt for a murder suspect is now officially over. Metro Police have just arrested 29-year-old Travis Reinking.
I've been speaking with the Reinking family throughout the morning, especially his grandmother. And you may remember that in one of the incidents prior in Illinois, his grandmother actually had concerns about him and talked to police about those concerns. And I talked to her this morning. She said she wants everybody to know from her that they are extremely sorry about everything that's happened with the victims. But she said something interesting to me. She said, but we have a story too.
Now, News 4 I-Team Special Report, Corruption on the Cumberland. Secret audio.
How do you explain what's on this audio?
I can't comment on it.
Threatening letters.
I immediately started looking over my shoulder, and I still look over my shoulder.
Misspending of taxpayer dollars.
This is one of the biggest debacles I've ever seen in terms of taxpayer money and basically fraud.
All leading back to elected officials.
He's got me doing the dirty work.
And despite blocks and threats,
you're going to stay away from him or we're going to have you arrested.
The News 4 I-Team exposed it all. To show how it all unfolded, here's Chief Investigative Reporter Jeremy Finley.
For the past 10 months, the News 4 I-Team has been investigating government officials in one of our region's most beautiful areas, the Cumberland. There, among rolling hills and small towns, we found a culture of corruption. The results of our investigations still rock the 14-county region. The executive director of a government agency terminated. District attorneys launching 2 separate criminal investigations. Auditors released a scathing state investigation. A federal lawsuit was filed, and a mayor had to pay back taxpayer dollars. And it all began when we got a tip that a woman in the Cumberland received an anonymous threatening letter. Our investigation found other women were receiving them too. Turns out all of them were public critics of one man, the highest elected official in the county. Are you critical of the county?
I surely am.
Jan Powell knew her frequent criticisms of Canning County government on Facebook would make her some enemies.
I'm a taxpayer and I'm going to say what I want to.
But she never anticipated retaliation that would arrive in the mail.
Did you feel threatened by this letter?
Absolutely did.
And be heard in recorded audio of the highest elected official in the county.
That son of a bitch is going to live.
how do you explain what's on this audio?
I can't comment on it.
Audio obtained by the News4 team of the county executive discussing an anonymous threatening letter, almost verbatim, during a private meeting. Here's the letter on the left. Listen to Gannon's own words on the right.
And if you think they won't find out, I'm warning you. You shut up or I'm putting that little piece on Facebook. And then it said at the bottom, and if that don't work, I know some other stuff I'll put on Facebook.
He should not be representing our county.
It all started when Cannon County Deputy Clerk Tina George walked past Gannon's office and could hear him and Commissioner Adam Melton from the hallway outside. Fearing they were violating the Open Meeting Act, which forbids deliberation of county business in secret, she sat down and started recording. You thought this is a meeting that shouldn't be happening.
Exactly.
And you needed to get proof of this. And that's when George heard about a letter threatening a taxpayer not to say anything else on Facebook. We won't get into specifics, but the letter threatens to expose an alleged sex act performed by the taxpayer that the letter claimed happened in a horse trailer. Again, what the threatening letter read on the left and what Mike Gannon said in that meeting.
Then it said, if you're not, I remember when you were on a horse ride a few years ago in the back of a horse trailer giving 3 minutes. How would your church folks feel about you then? Something like that. I can't remember exact words. If I were you, I would stay off. I'm telling you, if I were you, I would be quiet on Facebook. She should have got it today. It was made with respect. That's what I heard.
I couldn't believe that they would, he would do such a thing or someone would be capable of doing such a thing.
And when that meeting ended, George was waiting outside.
Hi, Mike.
What are you doing?
What do you mean, what am I doing?
You know. What are you doing?
I have heard everything you have said.
You probably have.
A few days later, Jan Powell went to her mailbox and found a letter from an anonymous sender containing the insulting sex claim she says never happened.
I was pretty scared because I didn't know who it was and I didn't know what they was going to do. And I immediately started looking over my shoulder, and I still look over my shoulder.
Powell went from scared to angry when George and her former county commissioner husband shared with her what was said in the recorded audio.
Strong-arm politics is all it is.
It appears that the county mayor had knowledge that this letter was going to be sent to you. What do you think about that?
I think he's a scumbag.
Did you have knowledge that these threatening letters were being sent to your critics?
I just can't answer that.
Yes, I was looking for Mike Gannon.
When Gannon didn't respond to our repeated phone calls requesting an interview, the News4 team tracked him down.
This is the audio. This is the recording of you having conversations knowing about a threatening letter to one of your constituents. You want to hear it?
No.
And our investigation found Powell isn't the only woman in Cannon County who's received an anonymous threatening letter after clashing with Cannon County's executive.
I got a letter, a threatening letter.
Dottie Duggan is a councilwoman in Woodbury.
When you look at the handwriting, how similar is it to the letter you received?
It's the exact same handwriting.
Now listen to what was said in that meeting between Gannon and Commissioner Adam Melton.
Oh, it sure shut down. It sure shut down. It sure did.
You know who made that?
Yeah, don't want to.
I was mortified, ashamed.
This critic of Cannon County government is still so frightened after receiving an anonymous threatening letter, she asked us to hide her identity. Look at how the G's and Y's are written on her letter and the others. The handwriting is strikingly similar.
And folks, we're back live on News 4. We've got to stay with you. I know you want to see the Olympics. This is more important tonight, frankly. It looks like we probably have a tornado in progress on the west side of Clarksville. We talked about it several times in the last, 30 minutes. And so we zoom on through, and there it is, probably right under the A and the R. This is right along 79. So right here, this is the area of concern. Lifting toward St. Bethlehem, lifting toward Rossview. You've got to be in your safe spot.
We are at the 1500 block of Green Grove Way here in this Farmington neighborhood, and check this out right behind me. This is all that's left of a house. I mean, it is absolutely leveled right now.
Look at this damage to this home right now. We have crews, several of them, trying to board up some of these windows that were busted out from those strong winds. And you look at this over here. This looks like side of the home, maybe an awning or some sort, and basically came crashing down here. There's a couple of homes in this neighborhood, the Farmington neighborhood, that look very, very similar. There's actually a home just to the left where the garage door was completely pushed in here. We do have some new numbers from the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. Here's what we know right now. We know at least 4 homes and 2 duplexes were destroyed, and dozens of other homes in this area were damaged.
The National Weather Service has just confirmed 2 tornadoes did indeed touch down in Montgomery County, an EF2 and an EF1 tornado. A third touchdown in Logan County, Kentucky. And right now, TEMA is working to learn just how many homes were damaged in Clarksville, Montgomery County.
It's during some of the darkest times that we get to see the best of humanity. There are some people that have lost everything in this storm, including these folks whose home was just flattened. All that's left is the concrete slab. But you know what? They're not alone. Friends and neighbors are here rolling up their sleeves, helping in any way they can. And News 4's Kim St. Ange was here when the sun came up this morning. She shows us the good that's come out of this disaster.
Come here! Neighbors helped the family clear a path, desperate to find their dogs buried underneath the rubble. The first pit bull mix poked its nose out from what used to be the family's living room, unharmed. Not long after,
Zeus, Mommy's here!
a neighbor spotted the second dog, shaken but okay.
Oh, be careful.
Volunteers like Dwayne Williams helped pull Zeus out.
That's just like saving a life right there. Dog, man, best friend.
Other volunteers showed up to help by the dozens, including 5-year-old Xenia.
It's just God just pulling everybody together, just to help out.
The Farmington neighborhood was one of the hardest hit, destroying some homes.
So everything in front of me and everything to the left of me got hit.
Others, like Jim Sprites, were untouched.
You see how many houses got their roofs ripped off, cars blown around. 2x4s are sticking in people's roofs, so the pressure of that wind had to be pretty strong to do that.
That's why everyone in this community will tell you they're just thankful to be alive.
This is one of the 5 duplexes destroyed by this tornado, and inside there are a couple of bathrooms. Now, a 10-year-old girl told her family that they needed to hide in the bathroom in the middle of the house, and that saved them from getting trapped.
This is my youngest daughter's bedroom.
And how old is she?
She's 7.
Alicia Dodds came back to her home on Holland Drive today, hoping to find a special possession.
My daughter wanted her baby blanket, and I can't get that for her. So we got most of their stuff out, but she wanted one specific blanket. And she's had it since she was 3 months old.
Dodds lived here with her 7-year-old and 10-year-old daughters until Saturday night. Now signs and tape are up, preventing them from returning home.
We're really lucky that my oldest demanded us go into that bathroom instead of the back bathroom, or we would have been trapped.
They made it out before an EF2 tornado ripped off the roof.
I always ask forgiveness for it, and I hope he forgives me.
That is the voice of a state lawmaker apologizing to a woman who accuses him of sexual misconduct when she was a teenager.
Tonight, the Speaker of the House wants him to resign, but Representative David Byrd says he will fight the majority of the misconduct allegations. The News 4 I-team has been investigating this for 3 months.
Representative David Byrd backed out of a scheduled interview we'd had with him on Monday, where he was going to address some of these women's claims. It's why we had to track him down at the Capitol to ask him about the secretly recorded conversation with one of his accusers that raises the question, what exactly is he apologizing for? Since she was a 15-year-old on the court, Christy Rice has lived with a secret.
He was like, you owe me, you owe me. I've been thinking about what I want to see you naked.
A secret, she says, about her then 28-year-old basketball coach at Wayne County High School. a coach who went on to become State Representative David Byrd. And now 2 other players from the same school and same team say they've kept secrets too.
I just remember being scared.
It's an embarrassing part of my past. I wish to forget.
Did you initiate inappropriate sexual contact with your former teenage players, Representative? While Representative Byrd isn't talking, they are.
Yes means yes and no means no.
Prompted by the Me Too movement, 3 former teammates are going public with what they say they've only told their loved ones, detailing what they say was sexual misconduct at the hands of their former coach, knowing it was their word against his. Until last month, Rice decided she'd had enough and not only called her former coach, but secretly recorded it.
You know, I can promise you one thing, that I have been so sorry. I mean, for that. I mean, I've lived with that, and you don't know how hard it has been for me.
To understand why Rice would confront a state lawmaker, listen to what she says he did to her when she was his 15-year-old player.
Did he ever touch you inappropriately?
Yes.
Where did he touch you?
My breast and below the belt as well.
According to Rice, Byrd touched her over her clothes and in one case pulled her hand toward his genitals. Rice says he also kissed her at least 10 times. When she made the call, she did not mince words.
David, you know exactly what happened between me and you. I mean, that's not a question. I don't know what happened between the others.
Well, then now there's no others.
But these women say they are the others. All who say as teenagers had no idea they could even file a police report. This former player, who asked us to conceal her identity, says she's ashamed she didn't speak up about what happened when she was 16. A warning, her description is graphic.
And when I laid down, he positioned himself to where his penis was between my butt cheeks. And he started rubbing my back. And then he put his hands under my shirt to rub me. And he went to the sides of my breasts, underneath my arms.
Robbie Kane says at 15, she found herself with Byrd alone in a hotel swimming pool on an out-of-town trip. She claims Byrd tried to touch her genital area.
His words were, I want you to feel how you make me feel. I want you to feel it throbbing.
Why come out more than 30 years later?
I hate to say it. I ran from it. I never looked back.
There are going to be people who, when they watch this, they're not going to believe you.
Oh, I know that.
How does that make you feel?
I just really feel like I couldn't live with myself if the truth didn't come out.
Again, in the recorded call, Byrd denies anything happened with other students. And even with Rice, he never explicitly says what he did to her. What he does is profusely apologize.
I wish I had a do-over, because I promise you I would have corrected that, and that would never happen. I hope you believe me when I say that, you know, I mean, it's one of those things that I think about it all the time, and you know, and I always ask forgiveness for it, and I hope he forgives me. And it's just one of the things that I've really beaten myself up, and you know, I don't know if you believe that or not, but I do. I mean, all the time. There's probably hadn't been a Sunday gone by when I, you know, doing my communion and everything, and I'm asking for forgiveness of sins, my sins. You know, that's one of the things that I do.
We intended to ask Representative Byrd what he was apologizing for when he agreed to a sit-down interview. When he backed out the night before, we tracked him down at the state capitol, only to find he wasn't interested in talking about what happened, including why Rice says at 15, the reason she became uncoachable.
I actually worshiped the ground you walked on as a coach, straight up. But then after that happened, you know, I didn't respect you, and you can't say
do this or do that. I mean, it was almost like that was my way of saying, no, I don't have to. I mean, that was very confusing
I know.
for a 15-year-old.
I know, and like I say, I just I look back and I don't understand myself.
Marshall County High School active shooter, people down.
I just see like fire coming from a gun.
For some reason, he wanted to shoot up the school.
They all just started running outside.
We have a possible gunshot wound.
One kid got shot in the jugular, one kid got shot in the leg.
This is something that has struck in the heart of Kentucky. This is a wound that is going to take a long time to heal.
Gunfire at a Kentucky high school. At least one person is dead, several others injured and being treated now at Vanderbilt after a school shooting.
The scene is Marshall County, Kentucky, 120 miles northwest of Nashville. It's about 90 miles northwest of Clarksville. Shots were fired at Marshall County High School in the town of Benton, Kentucky.
Just to set the scene for you, students are telling us that the shooting happened in this area of the high school, and we are seeing a lot of police and emergency responder activity. You can see there are police cruisers on campus and then several fire trucks over here. We've seen more arriving since we got here. I've been talking to students. In fact, joining me right now is a junior here at Marshall County High School. This is Eric Holder. Eric, I know it was scary this morning. Tell me what happened when you pulled up to school.
Well, I was pulling in and all these people were running from the school and screaming and crying because there was a school shooting, and I didn't know that yet. And I rolled down my window and some people were telling me that there was a school shooting.
How are you feeling?
Horrible. I don't like hearing about it just because I know everybody that got shot.
And any update on their condition? Are you hearing anything?
I mean, I know that people got shot. Well, this one kid got shot in the jugular, one kid got shot in the leg and the cheek, and one girl died.
Okay, we're so sorry that you're having to deal with this. We thank you for your time. Again, that's Eric Holder, a junior here at Marshall County High School.
Certainly a busy night for Lisa and Dan last night, tracking well over a dozen tornado warnings. Radar exactly pinpointing an EF2 tornado in Christiana. Lisa zooms right into the streets where a confirmed tornado touched down. Take a listen to this.
Let's get a little bit closer, see if we can see some of these roads, because I want people to know that are right underneath this. Look at that Jones Road. You know where Jones Road is? And if you're right over here around Midland, this is Oak Grove Road. Those are some landmarks for you if you're in that area. This is where we're seeing that rotation. It is really tight here. And I have been here tracking these storms since they started, and this is the best indicator of rotation I have seen so far.
Just remarkable, though, to see the damage that has happened here. I've never seen anything quite like this. This is what's left of the home just off of Midland Road. You can see that it is flipped over off of its foundation onto its roof, really. And we know now that Angie Walker is the life of a local radio station, WGNS President Scott Walker. She was just 10 days away from celebrating her 42nd birthday.
Taking on those Nashville honky-tonk stages. No one could be prouder of Amanda Taylor than her mom. But Mom's not out there in the crowd. There she is. Paula Jo Taylor. It's Broadway's guitar shredding granny.
People will walk in and they'll see me setting up on stage and putting my equipment up, and they'll kind of look like, what in the world is Grandma doing on stage? And then when I do something like that, she'll start shredding or whatever, and then they're like, whoa! Yep, there you go. Hey, okay, there we are. All right, girls, can you see me? Yeah. You look pretty. Well, I love you guys, and
Paula Jo's always keeping up with the grandkids, telling them about their Aunt Amanda.
So we'll get to see you then, okay?
Those were some of the little faces Paula Jo had in her mind when she got difficult news. Stage 3 breast cancer.
I don't know that I really grasp thinking about whether I was going to live or die. It was more about the downtime, not being able to play on stage. To give that up would be extremely difficult.
I just went, wow, my mom has cancer. Like, that's real.
After a double mastectomy, Paula Jo spent 18 months going through chemo by day, still playing those gigs downtown by night. Neuropathy from the chemo caused a numbness in her fingers.
On days that I didn't play my gigs, I would pick up a guitar and keep my fingers going because I thought that was the only way to stay on top of it.
If your home catches fire, do you know how long you have to get out?
Our investigation found a startling difference in how fast a home can burn depending on how old it is. Here's the News4 I-Team's Lindsey Bramson.
It was a night Renee Scales wishes she could forget.
It's like the fire was chasing us. When I first came out, I was like, okay, the fire's under me. I can't get to the front door. I can't get out this back door.
She suffered second and third degree burns on her hands and face. And when the flames were finally out, this is what was left.
Out of everything terrible that's happened, something good is coming from it.
That something good is a new home. But the News4 I-Team has uncovered information Scales and every new homeowner should know. 20 years ago, you had 20 to 30 minutes to get out of a burning home safely. Now, you have less than 3 minutes before fire officials say you're unable to escape.
Not saying the homes aren't safe. It's just they don't stand up under fire conditions like old homes used to.
The materials builders use these days are different than what was used decades ago. For example, they're cheaper. It also allows builders to get homes up faster.
Let me show you what I'm talking about. These wood panels up on the ceiling, they're more lightweight than what was used, say, 30 years ago. And these metal plates you see, they expand and come loose during a fire, causing the wood to collapse. And these are just two examples fire officials say can cause a home to burn faster.
The difference is lightweight construction is not as durable under a fire condition as the old legacy construction. The structure could collapse a lot faster.
So we put it to the test. The wood on the left is what's used to build new homes. On the right, that's legacy construction, wood used to build homes 30 years ago. We watched as both started to burn. It took less than a minute to see flames on the newer construction. 9 minutes later, the wood on the left collapses.
Oh, there she goes.
We flipped both pieces over to find the older wood charred but still intact.
Would you say that this would give a person a pretty good indication of just how quickly their home could burn?
Yes, their homes are safe. I'm not trying to say their homes are not safe. However, under a fire conditions, you don't have as much time in a newer home to evacuate than you do in an older home.
Renee is excited for her new home. It will have new electrical wiring and more smoke detectors.
So now it's not just the kitchen, one downstairs and one upstairs and hallways in between the bedrooms. It's actually in each bedroom is now what codes are saying.
It's important to note all the new materials being used are in fact code compliant. Right now, only 3 states in the entire country require homes have sprinklers in them, and Tennessee is not one of them. However, we do have a list of everything homes in Tennessee do need to have in order to be code compliant. You can find that right now on our website, WSMV.com.
Harassed, pushed, called racist names, and all because of his shoes.
The Nashville man's reaction is getting attention across the country. News4's Kim St. Ange shows us why.
Life moves fast. Sometimes the days blur.
That's what kind of day it was, where everything seemed to be in fast forward.
Except
for that moment.
This moment.
I was attacked today at a store.
Jacoby Campbell recording this video on his cell phone about the time he says 5 men attacked him in the grocery store.
They were following me around the store, calling me all kinds of N-bombs and telling me yelling out, this man does not respect troops. And
I don't think this was more of a racial situation, more so people just looking to, cause a little trouble.
Because of all things,
I was just trying to be ready for the gym.
The Nikes on his feet.
That's all I owned, guys.
They followed him around for 10 minutes, he says.
I was getting some detergent for the fabric softener, you know what I mean? Some Gain fabric softener. And, they decided to knock the first one out of my hand.
So I picked up another one.
They weren't done.
One actually pushed me.
One of those make or break moments.
Best thing I can do in that situation is apply grace and just ignore it until, and then hope and pray that the right people are watching.
She was a woman in the aisle.
And so she flashed her badge and was like, I was in the aisle and I've been monitoring the situation and I know that nothing happened. And that these people were the aggressors.
An off-duty police officer.
I know people probably know her. I know she probably has a family or friends. But to me, she is a freaking angel.
Campbell deciding not to press charges.
She goes over there. She goes, hey, he's not going to press charges, but he just wants to pray for you. And it's like, F you, man.
He also goes by another name.
There is a purpose to all that you go through.
News 4's Holly Thompson has the story of a young man guided by his faith and driven to serve his community.
Friends describe Jeremiah Walker as having the joy of music inside him. At age 6, he learned to play the violin, then the guitar, the piano, and drums soon followed. God-given gifts he used while leading praise and worship services throughout his early teens. His message at the pulpit grabbed the attention of Trevecca Nazarene praise and worship director Mark Hosney.
It's within his heart, it's within his blood. Everything that he did on stage really was authentic, and he just had it.
All these people, MPWI, they've accepted me as a family, and Haas is really the only reason why I'm even here. And he's the one that fought really hard to put me in this program and get me in this school.
The Surprise Squad paid a visit to his choir class. Jeremiah and his fellow classmates didn't have a clue what was coming next. Surprise Squad wanted to help further Jeremiah's musical career, so we got him a MacBook Pro.
I mean, I've written a lot of songs, but I haven't really had stuff to really put it on or record with, so this can really get my, positive music out there, so I really appreciate that.
I see him being a worship leader, worship pastor, leading people in worship, even as a vocation full-time, just in ministry.
All right, are you ready for your next, even bigger surprise?
Yeah.
And trying to get around. So far. Look at the ball. The community who have supported us since we moved to Nashville. I'm so grateful for this young man who has just done so much. I'm so thankful that you were here, Channel 4 and the Surprise Squad, Wholesale Auto Group. Thank you all so very much. This is a blessing.
And this is going to make every day-to-day life much easier all the way around. And that's something you deserve. You deserve to have just a little ease. So that's the way I feel. And I'm so glad that I could be a part of this with you guys.
I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what to say. God is good. I'm so thankful.